What's up, everybody? Welcome back to part 8 of my review of Kathleen Zellner's newest motion on behalf of Stephen Avery. In this one, we're going to be talking about Mr. Avery is entitled to a new trial in the interest of justice. Now, if you haven't watched the other videos, Kathleen Zellner has gone all in on linking Bobby Dassey to the murder of Teresa Halbach. And all 149 pages of Kathleen Zellner's newest motion is linked in the description below if you want to go have a view for yourself. Now, here we go. We're going to start out with Mr. Avery is entitled to a new trial in the interest of justice. If this court were to conclude that this new evidence warrants a new trial in the interest of justice, this court need not resolve whether the new evidence satisfies the test for granting a new trial based upon newly discovered evidence. As argued previously in the motion, Thomas Sawinski and Kevin Ramlow's evidence is material and needs to be presented to a jury. The evidence refutes the state's theory that there were no third-party suspects and no evidence was planted to frame Mr. Avery. The jury never heard this evidence and heard evidence that has now been refuted by this new evidence. An evidentiary hearing is required. The court must hold a hearing when the defendant has made a legally sufficient post-conviction motion and has the discretion to grant or deny an evidentiary hearing when the post-conviction motion is legally insufficient. Mr. Avery has sufficiently pled the name of witnesses, Thomas Sawinski, and the reason Thomas Sawinski is important is he provides evidence, material, and favorable to Mr. Avery by directly connecting Bobby Dassey to the Teresa Halbach murder as a third-party suspect and connecting Bobby to planting evidence to frame Stephen Avery. All corroborating materials have been identified, attached, and incorporated into this motion: affidavits, law enforcement reports, and trial testimony. These corroborating materials demonstrate that Bobby is a third-party Denny suspect because he had motive, opportunity, and is directly linked to Teresa Halbach's murder. Additionally, he is a Denny suspect who is directly linked to planning evidence to frame Stephen Avery by having access to key evidence of the crime because of his possession of Teresa Halbach's vehicle. Additionally, a new Brady violation has been identified as described previously in this motion. Mr. Avery has sufficiently pled the name of the new witness, Kevin Ramlow, and the reason Kevin is important is he provided evidence, material, and favorable, once again, to Stephen Avery that refutes the state's theory and impeaches Bobby Dassey that the Teresa Halbach vehicle never left the Avery property. Also, Kevin describes a new Brady violation. A law enforcement report was never made of Kevin's conversation with a Manitowoc Sheriff's deputy on November 4th, 2005, about Kevin spotting the RAV4 in a location away from the Avery property. If trial defense counsel had had this information, they would have been able to refute the state's theory and impeach Bobby Dassey. The Thomas Sawinski and Kevin Ramlow evidence would have been material and favorable to trial defense counsel. Now, she's talking about his original trial defense when his lawyers were Dean Strang and Jerry Buting, of course. It would have undermined confidence in the verdict because of the suppression of this evidence. Stephen Avery did not receive a fair trial. Mr. Avery had a constitutionally guaranteed right to present a complete defense to the charges against him. In conclusion, Mr. Avery respectfully requests that this court grant one of the following remedies. Order the state to file a response to the third motion for post-conviction relief and/or grant an evidentiary hearing. Grant this motion for post-conviction relief by ordering a new trial. Grant the request relief and grant any and all relief this court deems appropriate. Dated on this day, August 16th, 2022, signed by Stephen Richards and Kathleen Zellner. So that's Kathleen Zellner's newest motion on behalf of Stephen Avery. Again, it is all linked in the description below, so you can go have a view and read it all for yourself. Over these past 8 videos, that is why Kathleen Zellner believes that Stephen Avery deserves a new trial, deserves an evidentiary hearing, and deserves to be released from prison. And personally, I hope that this somehow leads to the release of Brendan Dassey as well. Brendan Dassey was just a child when he went to prison. He has spent half his life on earth, from a child to an adult, behind bars for a crime he did not commit. Man, there's just something that hits me harder when it's a child that has spent half his life in prison. And someone with Brendan's level of IQ, someone that was obviously coerced into confessing. If you watched those confession videos, those confession tapes, it's absolutely disgusting what those officers, what those investigators did to Brendan. Let me know what you think. What do you think's going to happen? Do you think Kathleen Zellner is going to get Stephen Avery a new trial, an evidentiary hearing? Let me know. Leave some comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching these past 8 videos. I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you again soon.